We're good? Okay. The Planning Commission meeting of November 18th, 2020 will come to order. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The Secretary will call roll, please.
Commissioner Tolson?
Here.
Commissioner Hodge?
Needs to unmute himself.
Commissioner Hodge, unmute yourself, please.
Commissioner Hodge is having some technical difficulties, so I'm going to move on and he can work those out.
Good idea.
Commissioner Rice?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
All right, now I have both the computer and the telephone. I can only hear you on my phone, but typically when you have both on, it creates reverb or some problems. So please tell me if a problem occurs.
We hear you good here.
Okay, very good.
Commissioner Rice?
Here.
Vice Chairperson Castleberry?
Here.
Chairperson Mann?
Present.
The Zoom operator will read emails, if any, received after 5 p.m. for this meeting is Management Assistant Christy Porter.
Thank you. May I have a motion for approval of the agenda?
Move to approve the agenda.
Motion is made by Commissioner Rice. May I have a second?
Second.
We'll take Commissioner Hodge as the second. Unless there's any objections, the agenda stands approved. May I have a motion for the approval of the minutes?
I move to approve the minutes.
That would be Vice Chair Castleberry.
Second.
May I have a second?
Second by Mr. Tolson.
Commissioner Tolson, second. Unless there are any objections, the minutes are approved. Declaration of conflict. The Secretary will read the declaration of conflict, please.
If any member of the Planning Commission may have a conflict of interest or any reason why that member must abstain from consideration of any matter on this agenda, he or she should so declare at this time.
Are there any declarations of conflict? Hearing none, moving on. Public statements. This is the time allotted for public statements or comments for all items other than public hearing items. Do we have any
There are
members?
no-
Sorry?
No, I'm sorry. There are no public statements.
Did we receive any emails before 5 o'clock for public statements?
No, there are no emails.
And
86. So you think 15 foot's more than enough?
I hear somebody else talking.
Sounds like Commissioner Castleberry, maybe?
Okay, I'm sorry. So we received no emails prior to 5 o'clock. Did we receive any emails after 5 o'clock?
No, we did not receive any emails after 5 o'clock.
Okay. No emails received, nobody on Zoom for public comments. Then we're going to move on. Is there any correspondence from the Deputy City Director or Planner?
Good evening, Chairman, Mann, members of the Commission. We did receive actually email comments for item 10.A.1, tonight's project, and that is in your supplemental. These are comments received prior to 5 o'clock today on the agenda item. So those were provided to you, and I believe you all have received those.
Thank you. No other correspondence. Consent calendar. We don't have anything on the consent calendar. I see no continued business. Now we're on to new business. Oh, this is continued. Oh, that's right. Sorry. I stand corrected. So, we're back to continued business. I see one item for continued business. That would be PDS 1065. This is a time and place set for continued public hearing on the consideration of Plan Development Permit PDS 1065, a request to construct a 6-unit apartment building and determination that the project is exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act therefore. Are there any ex parte communications to report? Hearing none, may we have an oral report on this matter by staff?
Yeah, good evening, Chairman Mann, members of the Planning Commission. This is a continued item from a few weeks back. The applicant has made some revisions to the exhibits. Our senior planner, Jennifer Santos, will do the presentation, and before she starts, we just want to make sure that if everyone can see her title screen for the PowerPoint presentation.
Yes. I can, David Caceres.
Yes, I can see that.
Okay, great. So Jennifer Santos is here now for the presentation. Jennifer?
Good evening. The applicant is requesting approval to build a 3-story, 6-unit apartment building. The project is proposed on a .38-acre site that is located at 1740 Patricia Avenue. This project was previously presented on October 7th. As part of the presentation, staff expressed concerns with the design of the building elevations and mentioned that they had been working with the applicant to try to resolve the concerns. The Planning Commission concurred with staff that the revisions were necessary and proposed to continue to the meeting for tonight to allow enough time for the applicant to revise the project. To provide an overview of the project, the zoning for the site is residential high with a conditional zoning that will allow a maximum of 20 units per acre. And the applicant is proposing 6 units, which equates to 16 units per acre. The proposed 3-story apartment is surrounded by single-family residence to the east and west. And multifamily residence to the north and to the south. There is an existing 3-story condominium project located here off of Haywood.
Let's adjust the screen. Christy, do you see the full slide now?
Yeah, it looks better. Thank you.
Thanks. Sorry, Jennifer, go ahead.
No worries. Thank you for adjusting that. As mentioned, this photo shows the site in its current state with a single-family residence that is on it. It's currently vacant and will be demolished if the project is approved. This 3-story condominium that is located to the south is located right here. To do a quick recap, this 3-story building will contain 6 units that will range between 1,740 to 1,855 square feet and will include 2 bedrooms. Parking for the site will be within 6 garages that will be enclosed, and guest parking, which will be located in the front here and 1 space into the back. There is a proposed common area right here at the southwest corner of the site. Additionally, each unit will have a fenced-in private patio area, in addition with balconies. At the October 7th meeting, the Planning Commission agreed with staff about the concerns with the design, and suggested the following: to relocate the building to the west side of the property to reduce some of the privacy concerns that were raised with the existing 3-story condominium project building. Provide support columns for the balconies along the east side of the building. to consider another tree type other than the gold medallion trees that were proposed in the patio areas, and to show more articulation on all sides of the building by implementing more design features. Some examples included window shutters, inset tiles, and decorative wrought iron. Based on the comments at the meeting, staff worked with the applicant to revise the elevations to incorporate these additional design features, which included replacing the third-story double-hung windows with larger windows and shutters, deleting the solid wall balconies, and proposing open wrought iron balcony railings, which would help to reduce the balcony massing. Reduction of the balconies in the front by 2 feet, increasing the size and quantity of the trim around the windows and doors, and changing the color of the roof fascia to match the trim of the building. This slide shows a comparison of the before and after, and how the applicant reduced the depth of the front balconies. However, the applicant is still proposing to maintain the 4 feet along the side. Please note that each patio area will have an enclosed wood fence around it. The applicant changed the color of the roof fascia to match the trim of the building, and is still proposing the same colors as proposed, which included reddish brown and tan colors with a smooth plaster finish. This new 3D simulation provides a better representation of the colors and the wainscot. The applicant enhanced the west side of the building by replacing the second and third story windows and incorporated a wrought iron railing along the second story doors and incorporated shutters on the third story windows. The applicant further enhanced the building by increasing the size and quantity of the trim around the doors and windows on all 4 sides. The Planning Commission also expressed concerns about the proposed location of the building and its close proximity to the Haywood condominiums. And the concerns were concerned to the potential loss between the 2 projects. It was suggested to possibly relocate the building to the west side of the property. As proposed, the building will be approximately 23 feet from the Haywood building, and would potentially overlap the rear 2.5 units, or approximately 72 feet. The applicant considered the Planning Commission's request. However, he indicated that the current layout balances the distance from both the east and west sides of the property to maximize the separation as much as possible. The layout also provides privacy to the existing single-family residents that are located on each side, and it is not known how long these homes will remain. Additionally, the existing condominium development along Haywood was approved with an affordable housing agreement, which allowed a reduced setback of 8 feet instead of the required 10. Concerns were raised about the gold medallion trees. Staff researched the mature size of the proposed trees and found that they would reach a maximum height of 20 to 25 feet with a canopy spread of 20 to 30 feet. To address these concerns, Condition C1 will require the applicant to submit final landscape plans that will be reviewed by the city's landscape architect. They will verify the proposed trees and landscaping to ensure that it complies with the city's municipal code and design guidelines. If the trees are found to be appropriate for the final review, Condition C-3.H will require the applicant to continually maintain the trees to ensure that the branches do not encroach along the adjacent property. Based on the revised plans and the amended conditions of approval, staff is seeking City Planning Commission's consideration for the proposed architectural changes to PDS 1065, and a request to construct a 6-unit apartment building. And we are available for any questions.
forgot that. Are there currently
Ms.
any
Santos,
questions of staff?
I have a quick one.
Okay,
Ms. Santos, the architectural feature on the first floor that appeared to look like a door, is that at the loss of the windows?
I'm sorry, can you please repeat that, unless staff heard that?
I'm sorry, you
I'll repeat it. The architectural feature on the first floor, on the north side, and then again on the south side, that appears to be some sort of a gated door.
No, that's actually a lattice. Sorry, I'm sorry.
Okay. So that's intended to be covered with landscaping at some point, correct?
Correct.
Is that done at the expense of windows?
I'm sorry, I didn't get the last part.
Is that done at the expense of windows? There are windows. There's windows above it, both on the second and third floors. Is this lattice work included within the first floor design at the expense of those windows? Meaning they lost the windows to have the lattice work.
I think that's something you would have to refer to the applicant. He could show you the floor plan of the first floor to help answer that question. I think it's more of a design feature.
Hi, yes, this is Nick. I think what we're trying to do at the back door, we try to make sure that we mimic the front elevation all the way to the back as well. So we didn't want to leave that part empty. That's why we put something like a door, but that's not a door.
Okay, let's go ahead and we'll have the applicant now go ahead and do your presentation. Do we have any other questions from commissioners for staff? Anything that refer to the applicant, we'll let the applicant cover in his presentation. Any other commissioners have any questions of staff specifically? Okay, let's open the public testimony portion of the hearing. Would the applicant like to present the project?
Yes, hi. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Thanks for the time. Well, the last time that we were presenting the project on the south side, on the north side, on the project, they were concerned about the solid part of the balconies that right now we just replace them with the wrought iron, as you can see. So the walls are not solid walls. And on the other side, of the garage side, if you can see, we basically made the windows all sliding door. The second floor uses Juliet. Yes, right here. Thank you. Use a Juliet at the second floor to mimic all around consistent with the rest of the units. And the third floor, you can see, we've made one big window with the shutters. Of course, the molding around it, which the molding has the width of the window, so it gives it basically more bulky looking. And the front, by the suggestion of one of your staff, we basically reduced the intrusion in the front by 2 feet instead of 4 feet that we used to have.
Did we lose our applicant?
No, I'm right
Okay.
here. Sorry. Well, the problem is I can't rotate this. And as you can see, all the trims are same color. Jennifer just suggested, which was a really good idea. So we're trying to keep it consistent between all the levels, and on the roof as well. The fascia is the same color, everything. And I think right now, because the majority of the concern that the last meeting we had was on the driveway side, they said it's too simple. So we try to, based on the restrictions that we had for the fire department, we try to basically bring more better looking to this side. And I think working with the staff was a great idea to come up with this design right now. So if you guys have any more suggestions or comments, please shoot.
Okay, so if that concludes your presentation, we're going to go ahead and see if any of the commissioners have any questions for the developer. Gentlemen?
I do. Just one for real quick. On the second floor, that is a slider to a zero balcony with a wrought iron to nothing.
Yes, sir. That's a Juliet. Juliet is usually like about 3 to 4 inches of space between that, and that's the reason it gives you more air and more lighting inside the room.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Commissioner Hodge, Vice Chair Castleberry, any questions?
I don't have anything.
Okay, I do. So to the Juliet, so that is not just a piece of wrought iron stuck in front of that slider. There's actually some depth to that wrought iron where it comes out from the wall a couple inches and goes over.
Yes, sir. It has 4 inches maximum per code. We can come forward 4 inches outside and have it revealed inside.
I'm sorry,
did you? 4 inches.
So is there a, I'm sorry, did you say that that's to code? There's a maximum of how far out that can travel?
Well, the thing, 4 inches. We cannot go more than 4 inches because people cannot stand on it. So it has to be 4 inches. So there is a depth into it. Yes, 4 inches.
Okay. So one of the questions, and I'm not sure if we actually got the answer from Commissioner Hodge. On the first floor, if we can go back a screen, we see that the third floor has 2 windows in the front, second floor has 2 windows in the front. The third floor obviously had nothing before, now it has a false door. Oh, we lost our screen. Has what appears to be a false door, but actually I guess is a trellis for a future plant or vine. So where the second and third floor have windows, the first floor doesn't have a window in that same area for an aesthetic reason, a safety reason, or why is there no window there on the first floor?
Well, the reason that we didn't put any window over there because that would make it too crowded. I would rather to have like a break in the first floor here. So as you say, we're going to put some planting over there. That is more like a lattice. So we're going to have some plant in that area, so it gives it a more greenery look in the first floor.
For lack of going through the floor plan, what is behind those 2 windows on the second and third floor that is different, if anything, on the first floor?
On these 2, I think the first floor, it should be just a living room. No, I don't. I'm sorry, I don't have it on top of my head right now. Mr. Nero, can you please tell me what is that?
It's a garage.
Okay, actually,
Yes,
sorry.
garage.
Staff is saying it is the garage on the first floor,
Yes.
Yes, sir.
and the second and third floor appear to be the bathroom windows. Okay.
Oh, yes, you're right. Absolutely. Yes.
One of the things that you, again, this is the question for the developer. One of the things that you said that you had done was, let me get the wording, reduce the balcony's depth by 2 feet on the north side of the building. I don't remember anything about reducing the balcony or even suggesting why did we reduce it by 2 feet on the north part of the building?
Well, the depth of the building, not the width of the balconies, the depth was reduced by the suggestion of the staff. Of your coworkers, they said that it's better to be a little bit inside. They didn't want, we already had a 4 feet sticking outside. They said it's better to be 2 feet so we have more indentation. So that's the reason we just cut 2 feet off it.
So when we talk about the second floor north balcony, let's just make sure, I gotta use my little pointer device here.
Yes, sir.
That's
Yes,
what we're
sir.
talking
That's
about right there, correct?
The 2 in the front by Patricia's side, yes.
Just the 2 front ones were taken down to 2 feet.
Okay.
Since this unit has 3 balconies, there's basically a full use balcony on the east side of the building. These were reduced at a suggestion of staff, and the applicant concurred.
Okay.
But certainly the commission could make the final call on that.
Okay. Back to I guess this is now my question for staff. So there is a code about the Juliet balconies can't exceed 4 inches?
Correct, and also you have to, they also need to have a clearance of about 13 and a half feet. There has to be a vertical clearance there for fire safety.
Okay.
So that's the reason they can't go out any further than that. Because originally they proposed balconies on that site, and the fire district said that that needs to be taken out.
Okay. We can cover that, we can cover that, I'll go through my notes. Okay, offhand, I do not have any further questions.
I've got one more.
Commissioner Tolson, by all means, please.
Thank you very much. In our previous meeting, we talked about not using the gold medallion trees. Am I understanding that that's staying the same?
Well, the last meeting, that, if I don't remember, one of the gentlemen in the staff basically that said that they know that kind of tree, and those trees are very good and suitable for this project. That's my memory said. That's the reason we didn't touch that tree from that part.
Just confirming. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, no further questions. Do we receive any requests from members of the public to make a public statement on Zoom for this item? Do we have anybody
No.
in Zoom?
No, there are no attendees.
Did we receive any email comments on this item received after 5 p.m. today?
No, we did not receive any emails.
Okay. Are there any comments from staff regarding statements made during the public hearing?
I just wanted to reiterate with the trees, since this is part of the conceptual design of the landscape plans, the final plans will be reviewed by our landscape architect to ensure that they are compatible.
Okay. Would the applicant like to respond to any of the comments regarding statements made
Hang
during
on.
public hearing?
Sorry.
Sorry. We have more?
Principal Planner Pedrosa will have a comment. Just hit the green button. Make sure it's solid.
There we go. Nope, still blinking. Can you hear me or no?
Love modern technology.
There we go. No, it's blinking again. Can you guys hear me?
Well, I can hear you because you're only 12 feet away,
Right?
but nobody else can hear you.
Okay. I just wanted to add a comment in regards to the depth reduction of the balcony on the north side down to 2 feet. That was in an effort to diminish the massing of the building so it wouldn't look so top-heavy at the front, but that was one of the things that we're trying to resolve in the past. So by reducing the depth by 2 feet and then having the open wrought iron railing, it kind of helped diminish the massing of the building.
Okay. Well, actually, with that said, since we're still in public comment, I have a question. What's not showing on our little diagram here are the little, these are all little private patio areas, correct?
Correct.
And there's nothing here in the front because there's no private patio areas. That is your walkway that will come out to about this area here?
Right.
And all those are your private patios? So
Yes.
you'll be able to see this
On
from,
the site plan. So I believe that front area is also a parking space.
I'm going to go to the landscape plan just to give a better, never mind. Sorry.
no worries. It's like I'm at home flipping channel TV stations.
So this will be the walk, there'll be guest parking here, and then there'll be a walkway that will come down here.
Okay,
and then-
those are little balconies above it, just for point of reference?
Yes.
Okay. And that little door trellis thing is kind of in between there.
Right.
Got it. Okay, we're on a roll now. Thank you. That answers my question. Do we get, any other staff comments?
That should be all, thanks.
Thank you. Would the applicant like to respond to any of the comments regarding statements made during public hearing?
No, sir. Everything is good. Thank you very much.
Okay, there's no further questions. We will close the public testimony portion of the hearing. Are there any comments or questions from members of the Planning Commission?
I'm going to reserve my comments.
Okay, the three gentlemen that are away from us, that would be Vice Chair Castleberry, Commissioner Tolson, Commissioner Hodge. Which one of you three would like to go first? You can
I can be brief. I have just a little bit to say. I'm happy to see the more articulation on the building. I think that's really important. That was the main reason why I wanted it to come back to us. So I'm definitely happy to see that. And other than that, I think this is going to be a great addition for Patricia Avenue.
And that was Vice Chair Castleberry?
Yes.
Commissioner Tolson or Hodge, any questions or comments?
I'll go next. I like the changes that he's made. I hope that maybe when he's doing a demo of the existing property, the buildings, maybe some of the stuff can get donated to the Habitat Restore. Aside from that, I like the project.
Thank you. Commissioner Hodge.
Yeah, I appreciate the changes that were made, and I think that there's been some significant improvements. I like the changes on the front of the building. I very much like the changes on the garage side of the building. As I recall, the lighting is going to happen later. Is that correct, Ms. Santos?
I'm sorry, would you mind repeating that?
Sure. As I remember, the lighting additions are going to be determined later. Because I don't see any lighting here on the side of the building.
Right.
So the lighting is going to happen later?
Yes, they'll need to submit a revised materials and color board, and then they're also going to have to submit a photometric plan to ensure that there's adequate lighting for the site.
Okay, well, I'm hoping that some of that will be decorative on the back side of the building, particularly where the driveway is. I have to admit to a lack of tremendous enthusiasm, for the project. There's no modernity that I can see, and in fact, and I apologize. This is going to sound like an insult, and I don't mean it to, but it looks really more like a building that's been refurbished as opposed to something which is new. Saying that, I mean, it's really not my call to decide what a building looks like. And I've said this before, we're not an art jury, looking at the building and deciding whether or not we like it. We're applying the various design guidelines, et cetera, that we have. And the ultimate sort of the way this building looks, as long as it meets those guidelines, then it's something that I can support. I do like the changes that were made. I think that the developer was thoughtful, and I appreciate a number of things that were going on, particularly regarding the balconies. I do think that it does look much better the way it is now. I like the Juliet, the fact that you can open those sliding glass doors up instead of the just-in windows, et cetera. It's a better project, and I think that it meets the guidelines, and I'm going to support it despite my otherwise disparaging comments, and I apologize for that. But at the same time, it just strikes me that way. I was hoping for something a little more modern. There you go. That's all.
Okay. Commissioner Rice.
I think that these are improvements to the project. I especially like the Juliet balcony and the fact that the tenants will have better airflow through the building. It definitely looks nicer than it did before. I believe that this meets the guidelines. I don't love this project. I think it would be an awesome project for the 1990s, but I don't really think that it's an awesome project now. But that being said, I agree with Commissioner Hodge in that it meets the guidelines as they're set out, and I would not want to deny the project because it meets all the guidelines. So even with my reservations about some of the design, I wouldn't stand in the way of this project.
Thank you. Okay, finally to me, Chairperson Mann. The developer did do what we asked him to do, came back with some increased articulation. I love the fact that he took away the bulkiness of the front balconies and put in the wrought iron. I thought that was a great, great touch. The plants, I mean, bottom line is the city will pick whatever trees and the developer together that will be fair and favorable to this development and the other development. Moving the development from one side to the other was probably too impractical, but it's nice that the developer at least took it under consideration and thought about it and said it just won't work. I am just not a huge fan of the Juliet balconies as they are. To me, the Juliet balcony kind of looks like you took one of those dog guards that you put on the screen door to keep your dogs from jumping up and just slapped it on. I'm got to be convinced that there could be something, a little bit more articulation and design that the city can work with the developer on. Something a little bit more than just what I consider just, a dog guard on the slider. I've seen people put those on when they're looking at doing a future patio or a walkout balcony. To me, it looks unfinished. I would personally rather see the window with some kind of Juliet balcony, but I like the idea of the slider. I just think that the Juliet balcony that we have there, if it can't be made larger, and I understand that's why I asked the question as to how far out it can come, if it can't come out any further, at least there could be a little bit more design or articulation in the wrought iron work itself to make it look more like a piece of art or a piece of metal sculpture or something, rather than just what I, again, consider just a dog guard preventing somebody from falling out the slider. Short of that, I love the addition of the windows up front. Get rid of the double hung, put in the larger window again. It's going to be lighter and brighter. It's 4 walls and a roof. There's not a lot you can do. I really like the fact that the developer did the articulation as far as moving one unit in, one unit out, different colors. I think for what we have, it's about the best we can do. If we try to do an ultra-futuristic modern business or building in there, it's just not going to blend. This one somewhat blends with the rest of the architecture that's on Patricia. We asked the developer to go back and make some changes. He did. It's not perfect, but I think bottom line, working with staff, they can make it a little bit better with the tree selection, the articulation, the design of the Juliet balcony. So with those things, I certainly would not stand in the way of this developer proceeding on to the next step. So those are my comments. Hearing no other comments?
I have one last
Thank you.
I have no problem with the gold medallion tree. That's the end of my comment.
May I please have a reading of the resolution?
Resolution number SVPC 11-2020, a resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Simi Valley approving Plan Development Permit Number PDS 1065 to construct a 6-unit apartment building, and a determination that the project is exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act.
The chair will now entertain a motion.
I move to adopt a resolution approving PDS 1065 and a determination that the project is exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act.
Motion was made by Commissioner Rice. May I have a second?
Second.
That sounded like Commissioner Hodge. I'll give him credit for that. I have a motion by Commissioner Rice, a second by Commissioner Hodge. Call for the vote, please.
Commissioner Tolson?
Yes.
Commissioner Hodge?
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Castleberry?
Yes.
Commissioner Rice?
Yes.
Chairperson Mann?
Yes. The motion passes. The appeal period for PDS 1065 is 14 calendar days. Congratulations. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I really appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Look forward to seeing this development being built.
Same here, sir. Same here.
Okay, so moving on. No new business. Oral communications and report. Staff, any oral communications and reports?
Yes, Chairman Mann, members of the commission, our next scheduled meeting is December 2, where we will have a couple items proposed. One is a continued item, and we have a new small project on LA Avenue. And we'll also be looking at the upcoming meeting dates for 2021.
Do any of the planning commissioners have anything to report?
I just have a comment, Chairperson Mann.
Yes.
I just would like the city of San Francisco and the city of Ojai have switched to all new residential. They've made it so that it's mandatory that all new residential construction has to have has to have electric appliances rather than with no new gas. I am not suggesting that we do the same thing, but I would like to see us encourage that option for new developments to use electric appliances rather than gas.
Now, does that go for heating, home heating, and for water heaters as well, or just cooking?
It's for all appliances.
All appliances?
Yeah.
Electric hot water heaters and...
Correct.
Perfect. Okay. Any other commissioners have anything else to report? Mobile Home Rent Mediation Board, anything to report?
No items this evening,
Tree Advisory Board.
and there are no tree items this evening either.
This concludes the meeting of November 18th, 2020. The next scheduled meeting will be December 2nd, 2020. This meeting is adjourned. Everybody have a